Hello, football fans, and welcome to this week's and the inaugural episode of Football Savage with me and my partner here, Damian Vasquez. Um, basically, in this episode, we're going to touch base on the draft. Um, basically, first 10 picks, kind of the scenarios of what we think could pan out and how it would affect both of our main teams. I'm a Raiders fan, he's a Giants fan, if you couldn't tell. And, let's get right into it.
All right. All right. So top of the draft, we got Cleveland with the first pick. Cleveland Browns own the first and the fourth pick. Second pick goes to the Giants. Third pick stays in New York with the Jets, who traded up for 3 second-round picks to get to the Indianapolis spot. So Indy's drops down to 6. So we have Browns 1, Giants 2, Jets 3, Cleveland at 4 for the first-round pick. Denver's at 5, which could be a hot spot for a lot of teams looking to trade up. A couple teams have some draft ammunition. Indianapolis, like I said, goes at 6. Tampa Bay's at 7. The Bears are at 8. And then we have San Francisco at 9. And Blanchie's Raiders at 10. So, first pick, Cleveland's going with the first pick. I think it would be absolutely ludicrous if they do not take quarterback. You hear a lot of different reports. For a long time, it seemed like Darnold was the no-brainer. Now, a lot of reports coming out that have Josh Allen being as the no-brainer. So,
I think it'll definitely be a quarterback. If they didn't take a quarterback, not to even say that the quarterback's the most, in my opinion, I think Barkley's the best player in the draft, but there's too much riding on it. They're new, they have new GM Dorsey, and the moral of the story is you have an all-star team, but if you don't have a quarterback, I'll take Brady and a whole bunch of average guys over an all-star team with no quarterback.
Yeah.
Personally, what came out recently, Dorsey, what I heard that he's a big guy about hand size, and he thinks hand size is a big important thing. In elements, Cleveland doesn't have the best weather throughout the season. So I think they should take. I think Darnold's a smarter pick. But I feel like I think it might be Allen though, actually.
Yeah, Josh Allen seems like the Cleveland Browns kind of pick. It's like a Browns thing to do. Not good or bad, but
it's like a wild card, like kind of like not what you expect, maybe,
Yeah.
But obviously this pick's going to directly affect your guys' pick, one way or another. Now my biggest question. Let's say Cleveland does go with Allen. Do you think that affects the Giants' pick drastically?
I think it really does.
With Darnold being on the board.
Yeah, I think the Giants have Darnold ranked as the number 1 quarterback. So if Darnold is there, it could either complicate or simplify the scenario for the Giants. If Allen does go to the Browns and Sam Darnold is sitting there, I mean, we're talking about Eli Manning with how many possible years does he have left? The Giants historically don't really pick in the top 5. So this is, if there ever was a time to kind of reinvest and look towards the future, now would be the time if Darnold's sitting in our lap. But the question comes in now, it's like, how do the Giants view their own team? Do they think they're ready to win now? If they think there are a few pieces of, keep in mind, 2 years ago, they're in the playoffs in Green Bay, which we actually were at the game. So we go, and you can go either take Barkley, if Darnold is gone, or if Darnold is gone, or if Darnold is available and he's the Giants' top guy, it's hard to pass on that. I mean, either way you can't miss. But
I think, I think Giants are not that far away, and obviously Barkley's going to get them, closer back to relevance sooner. But it's also the value of the quarterback piece, and you don't know when you're going to be in the situation again. And then kind of the media here in the New York area is very brutal. And one thing I brought up to D before is, all right, they get Barkley, boom, he's let's say he's really good, which he should be, and for 2-3 years before Eli retires, the Giants want contention, boom, everything's great. Eli's gonna retire eventually anyway. At that point, you might be in a situation where you don't have a quarterback, and even if Barkley's a superstar. Even if he's a peg below superstar status and he's only putting up star numbers, and you guys don't have a quarterback, he's gonna shoulder a lot of that. Like he's gonna be looked at like this is the reason why we have this guy and he's great, but we're 5-11, and what does it matter? So, that I think that's kind of a different angle to look at it also.
It's interesting. I mean, ultimately, the whole idea is you try and build a championship team, try and win the Super Bowl. You need great players for that. The question is now, yes, we do have the starter running back, but we do have them going 5-11, 5-11, or 6-10, what have you. I mean, you kind of fall into this like quarterback hell. Teams, you don't have a good quarterback. You're not winning the Super Bowl. Yes, there are some exceptions to the rule here and there. Trent Dilfer's,
and Barkley will be looked at as the fault for that too. Like he'll be. Even if he's a good player, he'll be taking the blame of, we don't have a quarterback because we took Barkley, pretty much. Now, personally, I think I would still take Barkley if I was the Giants. I would try to see maybe try to develop Webb. I think the jury's still out on Webb. Like he hasn't even really had a shot, to be honest. And maybe try to supplement and maybe grab another quarterback at some point in this draft. Because there's no guarantee that, you take the quarterback, it might not be the right one anyway. Sure. And if you would had to ask me, let's say out of the 4 quarterbacks, one becomes really good, there's 2 average starters, and there's 1 bum. Now let's say even if you get one of the average guys, not the bum, and you tell me, would you rather have Todd Gurley or 2.0 or Zeke 2.0, or would you rather have Andy Dalton? Let's say one of these guys develops into Andy Dalton, who's not terrible, but I would still rather have the star running back. That's more a sure thing, in my opinion.
It's and you brought up a good point. The true wild card here. I mean, I don't know how much of an impact it will have, but Davis Webb, that's an interesting situation. I mean, the guy was a 3rd-round pick.
He looked good. He looked good last year, in the combine and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, no, he's a strong arm. I actually went to a preseason game, Giants versus Steelers. I actually got to see him play a little bit in the last preseason game, so he had some action. He looked decent. It's what happens with Webb. So now if the Giants are looking at the situation as if, okay, we think Eli has 2 to 3 years left. Let's say, maybe he starts to fall. Maybe his play starts to decline a little bit. Do they have enough faith in Webb? Is there enough, future looking for Webb? Like I said, he was a 3rd-round pick. McAdoo even thought about drafting this guy with as a 2nd-round pick. So it's, do we give up that quickly on him? But in the same token, when you're picking 2nd in the draft and you have your pick essentially of every player -1, then it's something to really think about. If Allen does go first, I think that does kind of create.
Things up.
It really does shake things up. Obviously, the Giants could be trading down. But I think if they're staring at Darnold or Barkley in the face, I don't see how they trade down unless they get knocked over with a big package of picks. But if Darnold does go first, I think it kind of almost simplifies the matters a little bit for the Giants. Because I think to me it's Darnold and then it's everybody else. So at least from the Giants' perspective. So if Darnold does go first, I think it does make it easier to take Saquon Barkley, who, by all accounts, he looks,
Darnold's the domino to fall.
Yeah. Darnold is domino to fall. If Allen goes first, the Giants have to pick between Darnold and Barkley. And me a couple weeks ago, I'm like, you know what? Quarterback is probably the smarter play. But in the same token, we're not too far away. Yes, we changed the coaches. Yes, we changed the defensive scheme. But, there are pieces there still. And as an Eli supporter, once we get into the playoffs, Eli steps it up.
I don't think the Giants are too far off. One thing I seen on Bleacher Report, they I forgot who it was, but someone came out with like their projections of like the the standings for the season coming up or whatever. And one thing that's true about the NFL, it's never the same. And he had like everything like kind of close to where it was, like if the same teams were. Yeah. That's not going to happen. It's not happening. Period. It's not happening.
Yeah. Every year, there's always a bunch of surprises coming out of nowhere. Like we saw Philly coming, and win the Super Bowl.
The talent level is tight in the NFL. Like you have like a couple really upper echelon teams. You have a couple really terrible teams. All those teams in the middle are going to be anywhere from 6-10 to 10-6. Like they're a 6-10, 10-6 team is not that different talent wise.
No, it's not.
A couple balls bounced their way. They won a couple late games. One made the playoffs, one didn't. But anyway, moving on. I think the whole Darnold thing we're talking about affects the next pick pretty drastically as well. With the Jets being on the clock at 3, now the latest media things have been that Mayfield's the Jets guy, and in my opinion, I think Mayfield really fits the Jets. I like he's like kind of like the underdog, rah-rah, underappreciated that's so in this area that's Jets. Like I'm gonna prove you wrong kind of thing. But now let's say the first two, if Cleveland goes with Allen number one, that shakes everything up. Because now if it goes Allen, and let's say the Giants still go Saquon anyway. Now let's say Darnold's still on the board at 3. Do the Jets still stick with Mayfield that they've been, kind of heavily linked to at this point, or do they say, wow, we never thought Darnold was going to be here at all,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think every team is going to say to the draft board. I think the Jets trade up to 3 with the understanding that we're gonna fall. We're gonna have Rosen, Mayfield, or Allen fall in our laps.
And Rosen's the guy who's like the forgotten man at this point, which I think that the leadership thing has kind of hurt him a little bit at this point. But from a pure on-field perspective, I think he might be the best right now, or at the highest ceiling anyway. Yeah. Mayfield might be the best, like ready to play right away. But as far as like mechanics and all that kind of thing, and what you look for in a quarterback, it might be Rosen,
Yeah, and Rosen actually, when I was watching film on all the quarterbacks, Rosen was the guy that I actually kind of liked the best, to be totally honest with you. But there's some reports that they question his
heart's not in it,
his heart, his passion,
that kind of thing.
And those kind of things are kind of hard to prove or disprove.
Right.
But one thing that was very telling was the interview with Jim Mora, his college coach, and they straight up asked, "Hey, who would you rather take with the first overall pick? You taking Darnold? You taking Rosen?" And you'd think, coached the guy for a couple of years. You saw him play. You saw his ups and downs. You think it'd be a no-brainer that he'd go to pick his man, but he took Darnold, which actually raised my eyebrows when I watched that.
He called Rosen a millennial, like that he won't just do things that you ask him to do. He needs to know why you're asking him to do it.
Yeah. Could be good and bad. Maybe wants on certain defenses, but also
who knows? A lot of this stuff comes out before the draft. It could all be complete, horse shit.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term, but. Who knows? And then maybe we've seen the other guys where there was little signs that it could be a head case, and like Johnny Football, for example, and it came out to actually be true. So
it
could go either way.
You have to you can't leave any stone unturned, right? So you have to try to find anything, at least try to dig deep and find any because these quarterbacks are so closely related, or all the players, especially at the top of the board, are so closely related. You're almost looking for things to knock somebody down to make your decision a little bit easier. So.
And the funniest thing is, I was actually, as happened to be watching, I see on YouTube one of the side videos. It was a video about Aaron Rodgers during the draft, and he was a couple weeks before the draft. He was like supposed to be the number 1 pick, and then there was these things coming out that like, listen, if you don't get to take number 1, like with the needs, and back then with the pay scale, that anybody who was paying a starting quarterback couldn't afford to take another quarterback in the draft. So it's like, all right, these guys are not going to take him.
That's crazy. It's not the case now.
Yeah, because I think a good thing that they rectified the rookie pay scale. But shit, why did I bring that up? Yeah. They were commenting on the picks in between, and mind you, this is not long ago. It was like 2005. These guys, I was like, who? And after the pick, great need, great fit, whatever. So really nobody knows anything. And one thing that will be assured, I think, just by percentage-wise, out of these 4 quarterbacks, one of them is probably going to be a bum. And someone's going to take him.
I mean,
and there's going to be, and then there could be a guy like, let's say someone trades up to 8, which the Bears, or, to grab the last of the big 4, right? And then let's say Vita Vea goes the next pick, or the Raiders take Vita Vea. Vita Vea ends up being a stud, and this guy just stinks. In retrospect, it's easy to look at it, but at the time, no one's going to fault that team for doing that move. No. You know what I'm saying?
At the time, it's like everybody's full of optimism and hope. No one really knows,
They were I think it wasn't that draft, but I was hearing on the radio when the Jets took Calvin Pryor. Was that like 2010, 2011, around there? Mm. Oh, this guy's the next Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu. Like, they were gushing over the pick. They were so happy about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. And even going back to Barkley, it's as good as he looks and his combine numbers are. He seems like he's bulletproof. He's the best prospect to come out in all these years. Even then, there's still a chance that he could fall. I mean, let's not forget Trent Richardson. The guy coming out was supposed to be this megastar, and he ended up having a horrific career.
I mean, that's true.
Nothing's set in stone. So,
and then even on these other guys, like that 05 draft, that was the year when Cadillac and Ronnie Brown both went in the top 5.
Right, in the same team.
I mean, That don't work out too well. Think about it.
Yeah, it
But
doesn't.
I think kind of now though, like in the last couple of years, uh, running back more so than any other position has proven themselves to be the most impact right away as a rookie anyway.
Yeah,
And I think I almost feel like Barkley's can't miss personally.
I kind of feel like that too. But in the same token, let's say the Giants, let's say Donald, is there at 2, and we go take Donald. Yes, Barkley is just can't miss prospect, but I mean the other running backs that are behind them aren't too bad either. If you can
Oh
tell
no,
me,
no,
you can tell me we can go
there's a
get
lot of good running backs in
Donald
this
and
draft.
then Geis in round 2. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Like we said before, we don't know. Some of these prospects come out, they look like no-brainers, but it's not always necessarily the case. Even though Barkley does look like a home run hitter, and having him, Beckham, Ingram, Shepard on the field, and with a revamped O-line, like that's the makings of a decent offense. The Giants, they struggled to even put up like 14 points a game last year. It was offensive watching their offense. So, we get Barkley. That's going to help out a lot. It's going to help the defense. We're going to actually have a run game. It's going to help the offensive line. It's going to help a lot. So it's not, and that's a point that Gettleman had mentioned as well. It's like, you're taking one pick, but it's actually helping all the other facets of your team. And he had a very big quote at his press conference, and he's a big believer in stopping the run, running the ball.
I think
and creating pressure.
the coaching change is gonna help a lot.
You think the what?
The coaching change.
Yeah, I think so too.
McAdoo, I feel like they weren't playing for him towards the end.
No, they're in the same.
Not at all.
The same formation all the time.
But moving on, let's get back to the point a little bit. So the Jets, I think you could pretty much put in the bag. It's either going to be if Darnold's there or Mayfield.
It's definitely quarterback.
I think it's one of them two.
You can't trade 3 second-round picks and not get your quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think it's Rosen though. I think it's one of them two.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be Rosen, but I don't know.
They're all so closely related.
They haven't talked too much about that. It hasn't been linked to the Jets much. Now Cleveland.
Cleveland at 4
has the luxury of having 2 top 5 picks, which is a rarity.
I don't see that often.
But really, they traded that pick. They could have got Deshaun Watson last year.
Or Wentz.
Or Wentz,
right? Before
that. So you never know. But I feel like that pick will be. I think Chubb. Chubb looks good there. Now I heard there's a loose rumor, like a floated idea, which probably won't happen, but that the possibility, which I think is pretty interesting, of Cleveland actually doubling down and taking 2 quarterbacks, just because you never like we're saying it's so hard, like just double your chances of actually having at least one franchise guy. You could build around that. All the other things could be plugged in. You need the franchise quarterback. Nothing else matters besides that. But I think it's so outlandish that I don't think they will do it. And kind of what I mentioned to you before, you got to provide a lot of resources to get that guy ready. You got to give him reps. You got to do him at 2 guys, and they're both looking over their shoulder. Might not be good for the psyche, really.
That's the part that will kind of hold them back a little bit. Keep in mind that you had just acquired Tyrod Taylor, so he's going to be the guy to start off the gate. Which
Tyrod's not terrible.
No, he's not. I mean,
he's very
playoffs last year.
Unappreciated by the Bills.
Yeah, I think Bills. The Bills fans that watch him all the time are going to get a little frustrated with him that he doesn't take more downfield shots. He can't read the defense as well. But I mean, not for nothing. The Bills they were not the most talented team in the world last year, and they made the playoffs in the AFC. So
I think the issue with that is, especially in the league now, it's like almost being like an 8-8 type quarterback, like a Tyrod Taylor, Andy Dalton, or even like a Joe Flacco now, is that you're not moving the needle. So, all right, great, it's 8-8, maybe 9-7. We lose the first playoff game. What does it matter? It's almost like the NBA. Like, you'd rather be really good or really terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but in the same token, it kind of serves as a bridge for the young quarterback that's coming up.
I got you. But, like, you wear your welcome. Like, if you do that for 3-4 years, then they're like,
you have to go somewhere.
And then the funniest thing is the team that has the terrible quarterback, they're like, oh, we'll take him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, I wish Cleveland had provided that for Kaiser last year. They kind of just threw Kaiser right to the wolves. I'll tell you right now, Cleveland's not a bad team. They should not have gone 0-16.
And to be honest with you, I don't think Kaiser was right like that. And
I mean, who is with that team?
I thought the year before, I thought Cody Kessler, like, I think he was terrible. Like, they just didn't even give him a shot the second year. Like, you're not playing, period.
Yeah.
Like, 4th in the depth chart. You got Brock Osweiler, Hogan, right?
Right.
Like, you're just not playing. But he got traded too. He's on a different team now.
Kessler.
Yeah, I forgot who, but he got traded like a 6 or 7 round pick.
Right.
Hogan too. Also, they're both gone.
That's decent for a little backup. But yeah, going back to the point with two quarterbacks, I think the thing that really hurts them the most is you have to give your reps to Tyrod. You want to actually win a damn game this year. That'd be cool. But on top of that, you get two quarterbacks. So it's kind of like the RG3 Kirk Cousins thing, but it's a lot more amplified because Cousins was the third-round pick.
Yeah.
So the pressure wasn't there.
Yeah.
So yeah, RG3 and Kirk Cousins, but there's not as much pressure from everybody because
top four, double top four is crazy.
We're talking about two of the top four picks in all of college football, and they're both quarterbacks. Like they have to play. How do you manage those reps? How do you is one guy getting enough reps to clearly prove like, hey, this is our guy? Or maybe you have one quarterback who's better suited for one offense. Meanwhile, this guy could be better suited in a spread offense or a shot.
I mean, one thing is true. These two picks could finally change the course for Cleveland. I think Chubb will be scary with Garrett.
Chubb and Garrett on the outside.
Those are the two things. On the defense side of the ball, you want pressure on the quarterback, and on the offensive side of the ball, you obviously want a quarterback. If they were able to get both of that in one draft, I think that could really, really help them a lot. Plus, they acquired a lot of decent talent, even in last year's draft and recently. So the roster isn't terrible, actually.
Yeah, no. Listen, I always 16. That to me, that's more of a problem from the coaching staff. They have the players there. They were in a lot of tight games. It's just they threw Kaiser to the Wolves, and player for player on that team, that Cleveland's not far away. And I would not be surprised if they turn that ship around real quick, which is kind of a weird thing to say because the Browns. But honestly, I really feel like they have some very quality pieces. If they can leave this draft with a stud quarterback, followed by Barkley if he falls to 4, followed by Chubb, followed by
even Nelson's on
even Nelson, who I would love the Giants to get as well. But second round pick for a guard is a little high, especially when you get the quarterback or the running back. But Cleveland's gonna walk out of this draft with 2 of the top 4 picks, and I don't think they can even screw that one up.
No, especially not in this draft. This is a loaded draft. So moving on a little bit, Denver, kind of what D alluded to before, that this pick could be the one. This could go a lot of ways as far as maybe people trying to trade up and things of that nature.
Yeah, this is a good spot.
That's a spot. I still feel like obviously they got Keenum, but I still feel like Keenum's a little bit of a stopgap solution. Like you're not like, I don't think you'll find any Denver fan like he's okay. Like I'm not talking bad about Keenum, but I don't think I know it's like Keenum. Like I don't think that's happening.
I think we saw the best of Keenum last year with Shermer.
Yeah.
Shermer was quarterback whisperer, perfect offense.
Absolutely.
The guy played really, really well. I mean, let's not forget they were a game away from a home Super Bowl.
That goes to prove too. Like listen, these guys going to the NFL. All you guys have talent. They all killed it in college. This isn't important, man. Like you could be really good in college. You go to the wrong place. You fall the backup. You hurt your ankle. You never heard from them again. That's it. You're gone.
Yeah. It's cool like that. But yeah, five's a good spot. You see, the Buffalo Bills are trying to acquire more first-round picks to try to. Well, it seems like they're trying to move up. They have the 12 and the 22. 5 is a nice landing spot, and I think the evaluations in making the trade, the numbers are there. Like the draft chart that they use.
Yeah.
They're pretty close. I mean, you might have to throw a couple other pieces in here and there, but to go from you can see it from both sides. I mean,
if I was them though, I would really stay.
If you were Buffalo, you'd stay at 12.
No, if I was Denver, I would stay at 5.
And then what are you doing?
I would take Rosen. I think Rosen at 5 is a good value.
That's actually that's very good value.
You know what I'm saying?
Always the GM. You just got
always
Keenum,
the GM.
you don't have to throw Rosen right in.
And maybe Elway could probably see to his psyche a little bit.
Sure.
Of being this superstar in college. You know what I'm saying? Like.
You know what though? Denver and the Giants are kind of similar because Denver's not. Their defense is a tough defense. They're not too far removed from being a quality playoff team. So
that's the thing too. Like
with Keenum?
That's the thing too. I don't see many major needs where like they're gonna trade. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, they kind of need a running back. They just released C.J. Anderson. They really don't have a quality starting running back, but that's a type of thing you could get in the 3rd, 4th round.
Yeah,
like
especially in Denver.
I don't see. Like, let's say trading back with Buffalo, for example, and getting 2 picks.
Right.
What are they going to use those 2 picks for? That's more important than getting a quarterback.
But what if they don't? What if they don't necessarily need the quarterback? Maybe they don't think they. I think Elway might still like Lynch. They spent the first round pick on Paxton Lynch, right?
Yeah, but I don't.
I
think it was a
either,
mistake. I think it was a mistake because Lynch played in he was never under center. He was in a spread. Like I feel like. If you look at Elway's quarterback and Paxton Lynch, like they couldn't be more polar opposite from how they play the game. And I don't know. I feel like it just doesn't mesh very well with like the style of play they try to play in him. Like they had Kubiak, right? And then they didn't really change the offense too much after Kubiak left. It's a play action,
Yeah.
short throw, West Coasty kind of offense. It's not like a spread. I'm in the gun. We're going deep. Like Denver doesn't do that really.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's actually a very underrated part of where these guys land. That really is, you have to take that into account when you go into draft a quarterback.
Yeah,
the guy's
they-
never under center, and then you go into an offense where he's under center 95% of the time, or in the shotgun 90% of the time. I mean, the guy, it's not. I mean, yes, these guys are good enough to learn these things, and sure, then it could happen. But in the same token, why not get the guy, if you are a shotgun offense, why not get the guy who's been in the shotgun for 80% of the snaps anyway? You know? And these college offenses, man, they're evolving. So it's not like you can't find quarterbacks who are in these types of systems. But Denver's in an interesting spot, I really think. I don't know if they are as gung ho on the quarterbacks. Maybe they could have, they got Keenan for 2 years. And
They haven't showed their hand too much.
No, they haven't showed their hand. But I think I really something tells me Buffalo's going to get up there, and then Buffalo's going to get their quarterback. They need their quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think Buffalo's done either. I agree with that with D. Now I feel like these next picks, the 6 to 10 range, these are very jumbled up. Like I've seen a lot of different projections in all the spots.
But this is where a lot of the value falls, though, because if people put
because the quarterback run,
I think quarterbacks gonna come flying off the board in the top. I think in the top 5 picks, I think at least 3, probably 4 quarterbacks come off.
A couple of weeks ago, a month ago, Minka Fitzpatrick was a slam dunk top 5 pick, and I seen him and a projection today to the Packers at 14. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't think he's gonna fall that far. To be honest, I don't think he would get. If he was on the board for us, I don't think he would get past that personally, because no one really thought he was gonna be there to begin with.
right.
But so these guys, Indianapolis, I think could either go. Nelson would be a good pick. Try to keep Luck upright. That's good value at that pick too.
Indy's in a really good spot. They dropped down 3 spots and picked up 3 second-round
They're
picks.
still gonna get someone that they want anyway.
They might even trade down again. So think about this, right? At 6, 3 quarterbacks go, maybe even 4. I think 4 will go. Let's say it's 3. All right, so 3 quarterbacks go. Let's say Barkley goes and then Chubb goes. All right, so those are 5 pretty reasonable picks that might go.
The guys that are still on the board are crazy.
Yeah, so then you can go Fitzpatrick. Then you can go Quentin Nelson, who I think this guy looks. I mean, out of offensive lineman, this guy is just throwing people around, pancakes left and right. That guy, if the Giants were to trade down, and if the Giants were to accumulate more picks, and we ended up with Quentin Nelson, and then a couple of their second-round picks, maybe a future first, that's I wouldn't be too upset about that. That guy is a stud, man. So he could fall right in Indy's lap, or like Fitzpatrick, or a bunch of the other guys that are coming off the board. But Denver and Indy, they're in some nice spots, and I wouldn't be surprised if the draft order that we see now for the top 10, we see like 2 or 3 new teams up there. Really.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of teams are angling to at least trade up.
Yeah,
I
feel like this is a range where, because of all the guys drafting or falling rather, I think if any of these teams get an enticement offer, it makes a lot of sense to move back, because you could potentially still get the guy you're looking for at like 15 or whatever it is anyway, because you really don't know how these guys are going to fall. And a lot of them are so close. Like, all right, Minka Fitzpatrick was graded as a top safety, whatever, but now this guy Derwin James, a lot of people have him higher. And then the whole linebacker situation with Roquan Smith and Tremaine Edwards, Edmonds, that's a coin flip too. People are back and forth on them too. Edmonds has a crazy upside, athletic freak, and Roquan Smith just makes the right play the whole time. And all those guys are going to be in play in this area. And then you got the corners. There's like 4 corners all in this area.
Yeah, secondary is deep.
And you don't know which one's going to be the best one. You have Denzel Ward, who originally I wasn't like a huge fan of, just because of his sizing and things of that. But I watched a couple of highlights from him, and like this guy's like glue. Like there's some plays where the quarterback went to throw the ball and looked like the guy was wide open, and he just like flashed and like broke it up. So like he had I guess one of the best ratings against in college football, if not the best. I think it was the best of thrown to. So I feel like looking back at the draft, this range will be the range where
5 through 10.
You'll see a couple really good like value picks, like perennial Pro Bowlers, and a couple guys that just stink, like that just didn't make it. You know what I'm saying?
listen, if I'm these teams, these spots, if I'm Indy, I have Luck. I'm Tampa Bay, I have Winston. I'm Chicago, I have Trubisky. I'm San Fran, I have Garoppolo. I'm Oakland, I have Carr. So, they're set with the quarterbacks, and because the team's at the top of the draft, they're so quarterback needy.
Yeah,
They're gonna have
if one of the big four
they're gonna have
falls
some
into this
monsters
range,
fall in their lap.
one of the big four falls into this range, I think there will be a deal with at least one.
Absolutely, exactly. So let's say if I'm Tampa Bay, right, I have Winston. I don't need a quarterback.
And Miami picks 11, right?
Miami picks
So
11.
all these teams are going to try to trade ahead of Miami because Miami, there's a good chance that Miami has been linked to Rosen if he falls that far.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them have Mayfield. I've seen a lot of mocks with Mayfield. But the Jets,
I
the
think the Jets
they might have shown their hand. I don't know.
Yeah,
They might be taking him at 3. So I could definitely see Miami going straight up. A team like Arizona, yes, they signed 2 quarterbacks, but they got Bradford and Glennon, I believe. But I think they want to. I think they still want their quarterback in the future.
That's like a kind of thing,
Yeah. So we got Denver was at 5. Definitely a nice spot to possibly trade down. In fact, I would not be totally upset if the Giants drop back to 5. And we're still guaranteed either a quarterback or Barkley or Chubb or Nelson. I'm okay with that. Indy's at 6. They have those 3 second-round picks from the Jets, like we said before. I think Nelson can be a good spot there. Tampa Bay,
I think is going to go secondary.
Yeah, a lot of the mocks that we've seen has Fitzpatrick going there, Ward, Thornton James. So that's from the
Chicago changed a lot. Chicago initially a lot of them had Calvin Ridley, and I guess
really I hadn't seen them that high.
This was a while ago, but that's come completely backed off. I really later in the teens and 20s kind of range, which I don't think Ridley should go that high either. Production wise, he went down every year. They said they had a bad quarterback. They had a running back throwing essentially at Alabama, but I just think there's value in the wide receiver. I wouldn't take a wide receiver there, but then they've pivoted more to. I've seen a lot of linebacker projections, either Roquan or I actually seen Edmonds to them a lot.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that too. So I think that the bottom 5 picks, from picks 5 through 10, 6 through 10, that's where you're going to see
it's all going to depend on what
secondary, the stud linebackers. That's when you see a lot of blue chip defensive prospects coming off the board.
True story. I actually had a dream last night that Raiders actually did take Roquan Smith, and I remember I was shocked. I was happy but shocked in the dream. But also now let's say if the Raiders do end up going with Roquan Smith, which I think from a projection standpoint, I feel like he has a high floor. I don't think there's any way he could be terrible. I think Edmonds has a little bit higher ceiling, but if we do end up going that way, then that pretty much means that we didn't re-sign Bowman, which I think is retarded. I can't believe that I can't believe that no one signed him at this point. I feel like there must be something we don't know about. I thought someone
maybe he's just asking for too much money.
That must be what it is.
Well,
he's a year and a half removed from that though. At this point, he had a good season last year.
He was a killer in San Fran. I know he did a good job with you guys in Oakland.
Yeah.
But everybody has their price, and maybe he's valuing himself too high. So he actually does become expendable. It is granted. I know you want to keep him and maybe add another linebacker to that. But in the same token, he does become expendable. He's a little bit older. He's coming off the injury, even though he's productive whenever he plays. But they could, plug him. They could take him out and draft the new guy over there at 10. Either Edmonds or Roquan Smith. So
I feel like what San Fran does will affect us greatly.
Yeah.
San Fran's a wild card. I feel like they could kind of take anything.
I feel like I see the same 2 names going to you guys, to San Fran and Oakland.
They're
the linebackers.
We're
you take
one or the other.
They take one, you guys take the other one.
Exactly.
And listen, it's not the worst thing in the world anyway. But
the other scenario I've seen projected to us a lot is Vita Vea, which I don't really like, only because I feel like there's other DTs that I would prefer that we could probably get in the second round.
But you don't know that though.
Well, Maurice Hurst, he probably won't make it to the second round. He's gonna be a late first round pick.
Then the guy Payne from Alabama.
Payne, I'm not a huge fan of Payne. I like the other guy from Stanford, Harrison Phillips. Just this big white guy who helps you move a fridge kind of guy. But ton of production. He had 100 tackles last year from the DT spot. That's
wild.
And he's that guy you look at him and you're this guy. He's one of those guys just in the right spot. Just makes a play. He knows for football.
That's not an accident.
I feel like a guy like that is a good guy to have. Listen, he might not be a superstar on the next level, but he's a good guy. All right, boom. he's going to be our DT for the next 8 years. Like, he's there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he won't let us down, and now we could just focus on other areas. We've been failing at getting a 3 technique to help Mac at the inside. Like,
Yeah, he needs
year
more
after
help.
year
That
after
guy,
year.
man, he's so freaking talented,
We
man.
drafted Mario Edwards in the second round in 13, and he's had a couple flashes, but he's always hurt. Then we took from UCLA last year, Eddie Vanderdoss, who another just big physical freak, but you're just waiting for him to get hurt, and he tore his ACL in week 15, or actually his Achilles. I think it was one of the two. Something really bad. And we just haven't. Jihad Ward, we took in the second round. Terrible pick. He's like barely on the team. He's like borderline practice squad kind of guy. That was the second round, I think, in 15 or 16.
So crazy, right? Second round picks and already,
He's a type. He was a guy that he like raised up a lot. Leading up to draft, he only had 1 year of like really
This
being a
guy scared the
starter.
crap out of me, man.
He was like a JPP, but didn't pan out.
Yeah,
Like one of those guys. You know what I'm saying?
those guys scare me because everybody
And I'm
looks
like,
good.
I'm like, just get a guy who puts the stats up. Like, who cares what he looks like?
I'm so
You know?
the whole combine and the pro days and all this stuff. You guys got guys flying up the draft charts. Put the tape on, dude. Give me a guy on 3rd and 7 who will shake his guy and get open and get the 8 or 9 yards. These guys can be biggest specimens in the world. Everybody's fast when they're running. When, like Gettleman said, everybody's gonna be fast when you're running in underwears in a combine. All right, cool,
Yeah.
4.2, 4.3, whatever. But there's guys that they run faster with the ball in their hands. You let's say you have a torn up hammy, or you don't have the best 40 time in the world. Yes, it tells you how fast if this guy is capable to even do a go route or this and that. Sure, but I'm a believer in the tape. I really does he pass the eye test? Like this guy's we're watching it in the NFL that, for example, I don't know, a guy like Danny Amendola or a guy like Edelman, not to go to all the Patriots guys, but you put them down in the straight line, they're not the fastest guys in the world. You see them out in the street, you walk right past them and everything, they were a football player. Well, if you say, hey, it's 3rd and 10, give me 12 yards, get open and catch the ball, they're going to do it.
Yeah, and then you got a guy like Stephen Hill, the second round pick,
Gary's favorite bet.
and just never heard from him again. Just because this guy's 6'4", he runs a 4.3, and the guy's not gonna run a route. He drops balls. He stinks.
Yeah, they're people fall in love with these.
So my ideal situation for the Raiders at 10 would really be hopefully that we would re-sign Bowman, and I would really like Ward, to be honest. I would just like to solidify the secondary.
Like Connolly from last year.
Yeah, and they're both from Ohio State, so I feel like that could actually kind of work well together.
Good. Yeah, that's a nice move.
The second thing is, if Fitzpatrick fell, I don't think we could really pass on him.
I don't know what falls out for him.
Yeah, well, he probably won't. But we actually just hired Alabama's DB coach is now our DB coach.
Oh,
so that would be a really
that's
good
great
fit
connection
as well.
right there. I'm sure I'll be campaigning for him if he's available.
But I guess that's going to conclude our first video. See you next time.
Peace.